And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Experience Hockey Talk, Serious Hockey Talk for serious hockey fans, where I am still continuously fixing the camera, making sure that you can see my beautiful, ugly face. Good, I'm seeing it very well. Now to get it up on the PlayStation 4. We don't want to watch Doctor Who. And as much as I like Hyper RPG for the Power Rangers Dungeon and Dragons role-playing game that they have, I don't want to watch Hyper RPG either. Well, eventually they'll allow me to be seen by the masses. And when I say the masses, I mean like 3 people. Oh, there we are. Alrighty, and don't forget you can chime in our chat room here on Twitch, and you can interact with me here on the show. Hi, Dixon. What? Is that all you're gonna say, Dixon? Just what? Oh, what's up, dude? How you been, Dixon? It's been a while since we've talked. It's been like, what? Week? I think I saw you last Sunday. Yeah, we'll just go with that. So, while you're typing up your message, going into Game 3 the other night, the Golden Knights and the Capitals were tied at 1 apiece after splitting the first 2 games in Vegas. The lineup for Vegas going into Game 3 was Jonathan Marchessault with William Karlsson and Riley Smith, David Perron with Eric Holla and James Neal, Ryan Carpenter with Cody Eakin and Alex Tuck, Thomas Nosek with Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and Ryan Reeves. On defense, they have Brady McNabb with Nate Schmidt, Shea Theodore, Derek England, Lucas Spiezzo with Colin Miller, and Marc-Andre Fleury in between the pipes. I agree with tired. It's been one of those days. Washington had Alex Ovechkin with Evgeny Kuznetsov and Tom Wilson, Jacob Vrana with Nicholas Backstrom and TJ Oshie, Andre Burakovsky with Lars Eller and Brett Connolly, Chandler Stevenson with Jay Beagle and Devontae Smith-Pelly, Dmitry Orlov with Matt Niskanen on D, with Michael Kempney and John Carlson together, and Brooks Orpik with Christian Jews and Braden Holtby in the net. In the first period, we didn't have that much action. We did have a couple penalties. We had at 5:04, Devontae Smith-Pelly called for goalie interference, which nullified a goal that could have been scored by Chandler Stevenson, and then 11:21, Riley Smith would be called for holding. Neither team would do anything with their power play opportunities. So we still have a 0-0 tie going into the first intermission. Shots are 7-6 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs 13-5 in favor of the Caps. Hits 17-12 in favor of the Caps. And both teams 0-for-1 on the power play. This was an okay period for the Capitals. They started strong and pushed Vegas, but the Golden Knights were able to gain a little momentum during their lone power play. The Caps need to do a better job with their zone entries, and they need to clean up some of their play. The ice looks horrible, so they need to keep things simple. And knowing how, like, with the humidity that we have here in D.C., it does make an effect on the ice. It does make it a bit choppier, so you obviously want to keep things simple in that regard. Then going into the second period, at 1:10 in the period, Alex Ovechkin scored his 14th of the playoffs, tying the Caps franchise record 14, along with John Druce, who did it back in the 90s. And that was assisted by John Carlson, Evgeny and Kuznetsov, their 14th and 15th of the playoffs, respectively. Then at 9:58, Eric Holla would be called for hooking. Then at 12:50, Evgeny Kuznetsov would score his 12th of the playoffs from Jay Beagle and TJ Oshie, their 5th and 11th, respectively. Then at 18:34, Devontae Smith-Pelly would be called for tripping. And then at 19:38, Marc-Andre Fleury, served by Shea Theodore, would be called for tripping. That play right there was an amazing play on the penalty kill by Matt Niskanen to really force the play, cause some miscommunication between Shea Theodore and Marc-Andre Fleury. Great play by Matt Niskanen. You cannot go wrong with that play. And it killed that penalty for the Caps, and it gave them a little power play going into the third period. At the end of the second period, it would be the Washington Capitals 2, Vegas nothing. Shots are 21-13 Caps. Faceoffs are 30-15 in favor of the Caps. Hits were 29-24 in favor of the Caps. And on the power play, both teams were 0-for-2. A very good period for the Capitals. They picked up 2 huge goals and are creating good pressure in front of Marc-Andre Fleury. The Caps need to continue to clean up their passing in their own zone. Too many close calls in front of Braden Holtby, which we'll get to in a moment. As in the third period, at 3:29 into the period, Tomas Nosek would score his fourth of the playoffs, assisted by Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, due to a turnover made by Braden Holtby, throwing a bad pass in his own zone. Then at 7:35, Derek England would be called for tripping, and at 13:53, Devontae Smith-Pelly would exercise his demon from earlier in the game when he took that goalie interference penalty and would do a very nice snipe over the glove of Marc-Andre Fleury for his fifth of the playoffs, assisted by Jay Beagle, his sixth assist of these playoffs. Capitals would go on to win 3-1 and take a 2-1 series lead over the Vegas Golden Knights. Shots were 26-22 in favor of the Caps. Faceoffs were 39-23 in favor of the Capitals. Hits were 38-31 in favor of the Caps. And on the power play, Vegas was 0-2 and the Caps were 0-4. Now, taking a look at a few things, it's good to see that the Capitals maintained that presence. They were able to still outshoot the Vegas Golden Knights in this game. Face-offs was a key thing for the Washington Capitals. If you aren't winning face-offs, you aren't creating possession of the puck for your team. Possession always starts with good face-off wins, which is a key thing. Hits, it's good to see the Capitals are taking it physically to the Vegas Golden Knights. You can tell that the Vegas Golden Knights are trying to amp up their physicality a bit against the Caps. Probably not to their best thing to do for them. So it's definitely good to see the Capitals, beating up on the Golden Knights. And on the power play, obviously we'd like to see it better, albeit one power play was shortened because of the original 4-on-4 that was taking place at the end of the second period. Definitely want to see the power play do better. The Capitals are doing a really good job of also changing the looks, because we all know that everyone's always going to go towards Ovechkin, which is leaving more opportunity for John Carlson. But the key thing is that they got to hit the net. If you don't hit the net, you aren't going to get those good opportunities. Unless you're trying to hit it off the boards and try to get a weird carom, that's one thing. But most of the time, you do want to try to get it on net, especially when you have traffic in front of Marc-Andre Fleury. And for the lineups for the Capitals, there are no lineup change whatsoever, but there are a couple lineup changes for the Vegas Golden Knights. So going into the 5 keys to the game, number 1 is obviously changes for Vegas. Forward Tomas Tatar, a healthy scratch for the past 5 games, will play. Gerard Gallant said that he's a scorer. We wanted to change the lineup a little bit. Obviously, losing 2 games in a row give us a little bit more offense. Gallant wouldn't confirm who Tatar would replace, but it'll likely be David Perron, who didn't take line rushes and stayed on the ice for extra work at the morning skate. Vegas was also trailing in a series the last time Tatar returned to the lineup after consecutive games as a healthy scratch, which was Game 2 against Winnipeg, and he scored in the Golden Knights won 3-1. So he does bring a little bit of a factor into the game when he plays. The Capitals will just have to shut him down too. One of the interesting things is, and that we'll talk about in a moment, is that really the only line that's really done anything for Vegas in this series has been their 4th line. The first line, you've seen them out there a bit, but they really haven't generated much. And the second and third line are just non-existent for Vegas. So that brings up number 2, Vegas. Vegas' top line. The Golden Knights need more from Jonathan Marchessault, William Karlsson, and Riley Smith. All 3 were held off the score sheet in Game 3. Smith and Karlsson did not have a shot on goal. Marchessault had 4. Marchessault said his line needs to play more like the 4th line of Ryan Reeves, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, and Tomas Nosek, because they've been keeping it simple by chipping pucks into the zone and forechecking aggressively. Marchessault also said it's on us to step up. At the end of the day, you need to get those big goals. I think we're pretty happy to get a couple of chances, but for our group, it's not good enough. I think we need more. Number 3, key number 3, the neutral zone. The Capitals won the past 2 games in this area of the ice. They were strong at each blue line and controlled the middle by negating Vegas' speed. The Golden Knights were also at times their own worst enemy by turning the puck over. You have any skilled player, they want to have the puck with possession and speed. If you can be in their face, just standing in the way, it's amazing what that does. Quoted by Matt Niskanen. He also said, make them move the puck sooner than they want to. Key number 4 would be also for Vegas, which is controlling Alex Ovechkin. Vegas must figure out a way to neutralize Washington forward Alex Ovechkin. who was all over the ice in Game 3 and has scored in each of the past 2 games. In addition to his goal, Ovechkin finished Game 3 with 5 shots on goal, 10 total shot attempts, 2 blocked shots, and 2 hits. So that pretty much has made him a complete player. As I mentioned earlier, Ovechkin has scored 14 goals, tied with John Drew's Capitals record for most in a single postseason, which was back in 1990. And then number 5, keep protecting Braden Holtby. It's essential for the Capitals to insulate goalie Braden Holtby with layers of coverage in front of him. Holtby is one of the best goalies in the NHL, but his job has been easier the past 2 games because the Capitals have made it difficult on the Golden Knights to get shots on goal and traffic in front of him when they do. Vegas had 62 shot attempts in Game 3, 22 were on net. Washington had 26 blocks. The Golden Knights had 39 shots on goal in Game 2, but 25 came from at least 30 feet out, many without a screen in front of Holtby. So, as I mentioned, there are a couple changes going into the Golden Knights' projected lineup going tonight. One of them, obviously, Dare Prawn out of the lineup, Thomas Tatar in the lineup on the third line, along with Cody Eakin and Ryan Carpenter. But in an interesting note, when it came down to the status report, Gerard Gallant said there might be another change to Vegas' lineup, but didn't comment further. And I don't know what's up with the Caps right now, but you got pregame warm-up, and Michael Kempney's getting bandaged up the face, and now all of a sudden Smith Pelly is expected to play despite getting hit on his left cheek by a Burakovsky slap shot. During the morning skate, the Caps medical staff closed the cut with glue. Smith Pelly said he wasn't sure if he needed stitches because he was still dripping blood after the skate. So, guys are getting their nicks on their faces and they're not even playing in the game. They're getting it in pregame warm-ups and practices. So it's kind of a fun one there if you're a Capitals fan when you're looking at that. Hey, Dixon, I know you have questions because we haven't really talked since the final started, so feel free to start popping those questions at me and I'll answer them on the air, bud. But, and of course, our good friend Shaggy is at the game tonight. Lucky guy. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned the other night, I was on WUSA 9. Obviously, they wanted to see if I can get Game 4 tickets. It did not happen. As you can tell, I am in the X75 production studio here in Germantown, Maryland. And, it's all right. I get to watch the game at home. I get to be a little bit more relaxed watching it, and that's perfectly fine by me. But I will confirm here on the show today that if the Capitals are in a clinching situation, I will definitely be at the viewing party on Thursday night at Capital One Arena. However, if its series is tied 2-2 going into Game 5, it's a 50-50 chance that I will be going to that viewing party. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what happens tonight, and we'll find out. What's your view on that Orpik hit? Are we obviously we're talking about the one where Neil did the hit. Okay, so it was a counter hit. He didn't target the head. I read Brooks Orpik's comments. Actually, I didn't read his comments. I heard his comments in the post-game interview, where he pretty much said he's no Neil, and that was a Neil type play. He should have seen Neil doing what he was going to do, and which is the reason why I was pointing at his head, because he was like, he should have known better. But no, honestly, there was no head contact. Orpik even confirmed that there was no head contact. Obviously, with James Neal, we remember the one game against the Flyers where in a 30-second span he did 2 clear headshots and got nothing for it, or a game for it. It was ridiculous. But no, it was a clean hit. It just knocked the wind out of Orpik, and it is what it is, and you move on. Next question, Dixon. I know you have plenty. Oh, yeah, thank you for reminding me with the tweet. So, yeah, thanks for reminding me. Neil should not have been suspended at all for the hit on Orpik. You retweeted something that actually I'm glad you retweeted. Um, so, first off, I know the guy who owns the restaurant. He's a really good guy. I like him. What he put out there because some schmuck threw out a crab on the ice at the end of the Caps win on Game 3. Now, whoever throws a crab on the ice will get 8 free crab cakes from Jimmy's Famous Seafood. There's one problem with that. And that's the fact, and we've seen it before. Actually, we saw it the last time the Capitals played the Flyers in the playoffs, and they all threw those bracelets on the ice. Is that outside of a hat trick, if you throw anything on the ice, first you get a warning, then it's a delay of game penalty on the team. And not only that, but we're not talking about like a bottle or something like that gets thrown on the ice or one of those wristbands or whatever. We're talking about a crab. A crab where it can break into little pieces that they may not be able to pick up off the ice and then become a hazard for the players. Take it from me, I played ice hockey for 12 years. I still try to get on the ice, when I can. And here's the thing, we already know with the humidity and stuff like that we have here in this area, the ice is already going to be choppy as is. There's going to be ruts in the ice. The ice is not going to be great. Now you add in the element of throwing a crab or crabs onto the ice, which can break and the shells can get kind of embedded in the ice where you can't clean it out. That's creating a massive hazard for the Capitals players and the Vegas Golden Knights players, and even for the officials on the ice. So don't do it. It's just as dumb as if you're doing the who cares and all your fault chants. It's dumb things like that you just should not do at all. It's a hazard, it's a problem, and if it's done, that person honestly should be ejected from the arena for doing it. And they can enjoy their free crab cakes while watching the game at home after being ejected and being, banned from the arena. So, I really do hope that they ban whoever does that. And then it will look really bad on Jimmy's Famous Seafood for wanting to put that out there. And again, I know the guy who runs Jimmy's Famous Seafood. He's a super nice guy, and I like him. But this is not one of those smart decisions right there. I'm sorry. Dixon, I know you have more questions. I want to kill at least 12 more minutes, so just pop out questions. Just pop out questions, dude. I know you agree 100% on that because I know what I'm talking about. Unlike you, I've been on the ice, buddy. Well, you've been on the ice, but you've never been on the ice in ice skates like I have. But yeah, pop out a couple questions. Just do like a speed round with me, bud. We got like 10 minutes. Let's do this. I'm not that quick. Work faster, damn it. But no, while I'm waiting for Dixon to throw a couple speed round questions for me, which, by the way, I'm happy to have you in the chat room again, Dixon. It's been a while since I've had you in there. I love how everyone keeps asking me about, what do you think's going to happen today? It's like, we'll see. We'll see because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what bounces are going to happen. I personally hope the Caps go out there and they play like they did the last 2 games and they dominate. I mean, obviously they really have to clean up the play in their own zone. That's something that's really concerned me the most. That's why the 1 goal was scored in the last game, because Braden Holtby misplayed the puck in his own zone, and it costed him. And I actually agree with the one thing that Pierre McGuire said, where it's like you just stick to what you do. You stick to what you're good at, and you just keep wrapping the thing around the boards, even if they keep stopping it at the on the board at the blue line. Just keep doing it. So, it definitely in the zone, the Caps need to clean up the most. I love what they're doing in the neutral zone, just clogging it up and really frustrating the Golden Knights. And keep it simple. Definitely keep it simple and play and just play your game. Just get shots on goal too, man. You know the ice isn't going to be great, so you don't know what type of bounces you're going to get, so go for it. Who do you see winning the Conn Smythe based on the postseason now? Definitely not Marc-Andre Fleury with how this round has gone. Definitely Marc-Andre Fleury is somebody who I saw going into the finals as a Conn Smythe candidate. And obviously Ovechkin's in that conversation. Ovechkin's been very good in this, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals. Kuznetsov has been really good in the Stanley Cup Finals as well. So you definitely put those guys out there. Holtby has played very well in the finals, so you can definitely put him in that. Lars Eller has. I mean, he's not probably going to be up for the Conn Smythe, but Lars Eller has really stepped up for the Capitals. Backstrom is playing for that injury, and bless that man, because who knows how badly injured that hand is. So yeah, no, it's you got quite a few on the Cap side. On the Vegas side, it's really just Fleury, but even Fleury at right now, unless he really turns it around and can steal the series for the Golden Knights, I don't see him getting it. Next question, Dixon. And of course, while we're waiting on Dixon, there is some NWHL news that we'll go over real quick while we're waiting on that. It was announced today that Amanda Kessel, a member of the gold medal winning Team USA at the 2018 Winter Olympics, has agreed to a one-year contract to play for the defending Isabel Cup champions, Metropolitan Riveters, in the 2018-19 season. This will be Amanda Kessel's second season with the Metropolitan Riveters. Second time in 3 seasons, because she didn't play this past season because of the Olympics. And then also the Buffalo Beauts announced today that they have agreed to terms with defenseman Lisa Chizan. She is returning for her 3rd season with the Buffalo Beauts. So you have some NWHL news right there. Obviously, we announced, on the last show, the first 2 signings that took place, both with the Beauts. So free agency now in full swing. We've had 4 signings already in the NWHL in regards to that. Dixon asked, probably a stupid one, but is Trotz's job secured? That's a very interesting question. What a story it could be that it's the last year of the contract. He wins the cup. He retires. I'm just going to throw that little nugget out there. After everyone said he could never get out of the 2nd round, he can never get to the 3rd round, he can never, coach in the finals or anything like that. He's now in the finals. He wins the cup, potentially. Knock on wood. And he retires. That's a true storybook ending for a guy who deserves it. So, Trotz's job, I think he has in fact secured it, because he's in the finals and he's 2 wins away from the cup. Obviously, if he wins the thing, he's definitely, especially if he definitely wins the cup, I would say his job has to be secure because of that fact. But at the same time, they've taken so much time to groom Todd Reardon to become the new head coach. So it'll be interesting to see. But something tells me if they do go to distance, I could see Trotz maybe retiring or maybe just doing 1 more year. So, good question, Dixon. Good questions. I knew you'd come up with some goodness. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, Game 4 tonight on NBC at 8 p.m. Hopefully the game starts on time. It probably won't. Damn it. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can tell your friends. Follow the channel, twitch.tv/TXHD Hockey. Go to our Patreon, join our Patreon community at patreon.com/txhd_hockey. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/txhdhockey. And follow us on Twitter at txht_hockey. So it's Twitch, Patreon, and Twitter, all txht_hockey. And Facebook is txht hockey. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. And until Thursday, we will see you on the ice. Oh, and before I really cut it, we will have an announcement on Twitter about where and when we will be doing the Game 5 preview show. It could be here in the studio, or it could be at Capital One, but we'll let everyone know when that time comes.